Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas. And what are we doing today? We're doing another collage type of bowl using 3 different pigment dyes. So you guys have probably seen the botched one where I tried to do this and it kind of came out the way I wanted it to. But this was actually the first multicolored dye bowl that I did. But you guys are watching the successful one, the one that turned out okay. So what we got here are 3 separate colors. We got blue, we got like a dark orange, and a green. We're going to mix this up in 8-ounce cups, and then we're going to pour it into one big blanket itself. So if you've seen the previous one, you know that I tried this with a different set of pigment colors, and only 2 of them worked out because I had an epoxy issue. So this was actually the first one that I ever did. So the first one turned out better than the sequel. So this is the first one that we ever did. So we have like an olive drab green, we have like a turquoise blue, and a bright orange. So went ahead, poured in the first color, getting everything nice and mixed up, getting as much of that out as humanly possible because yeah, you gotta mix it all in there. And then we're gonna come back and then double pour. Boom, look at that. And don't mix it, we're just gonna leave it there. So now we have this cool collage of different colors. It's all the way up to the top of the bowl. Now we're going to throw this into the pressure pot. 4.5 hours later, we get this cool looking collage. The other great thing is, instead of it just being melted together, it's like the ocean coming together. You get a cool wavy kind of color. And the top of the blanket itself was kind of wavy, so I was concerned that I maybe didn't mix the epoxy well. So I was kind of nervous going into this one, mostly because I thought, okay, there's some bubbling on top. It's kind of not mixed well together. When you mix different batches of epoxy and you mix some better than others, and then you throw them all together, sometimes you will get a little bit of an issue. But fortunately, we didn't have anything like that happen on this one. So don't be stingy with your hot glue. Getting everything glued up all nice and neat, getting the edges taken care of. We're going to throw this onto the lathe after we put the faceplate on, because that's super duper important, people. You got to put the faceplate on. So getting everything screwed down to that piece of pine so we can go ahead and just throw this onto the lathe. Having a little bit of an issue there. Boop, there you go. And everything's nice and neat. And you might be wondering why I didn't screw everything down initially the same way. Is because I've learned that the cheap pine board that I get from Lowe's will crack if you go all the way down. So it's important just to kind of leave them about 3/4 all the way, and then leave that 1/4, and then come back and hit every single portion. Sometimes I'll get a little bit of a less crack with that, so that's why I do that way. And I do that in all the projects. So if you're ever wondering, that's why I do it. So this was part of the marathon of projects, if I haven't mentioned that earlier. So I finished this in March of 2022. You guys are probably watching this in the fall of 2022. Had a work thing, last minute notice, had 2.5 weeks to get enough projects built to where I could have a video posted every week for, the foreseeable 6 to 9 months while I'm gone. So hopefully I'm home by the time you guys are seeing this video, but if you're not, that's kind of why these projects have kind of been on the smaller side. If you go back and watch a lot of my other videos, you notice I do larger projects, but hey, time was of the essence, and we want to keep growing the channel. So still getting really good projects out of this. So on this one, got that superficial layer off, just coming back with the round carbide tool, getting everything nice and even. And once we did the sanding on this one's going to turn out really well. So overall, really happy with this. But this is part of the marathon of projects. Like I said, we did 20-ish projects in 2.5 weeks, which is a lot of woodwork when you're trying to woodwork, have a life, and then get in the garage and do these projects, edit the videos, do the commentary. There's so much that goes into it. I'm one-man show down here, okay? So we're not very professional, but we get stuff done on this channel, people. We get stuff done. So anyway, coming back and just getting everything nice and rounded out on the bottom so we can start making the mortise. And the great thing about this one was I think it was that first color that I threw in there. You can't really see it now in the overall project, but you can kind of see in the shavings a little bit. You probably can't see it too much here on videos. I'm doing the commentary. I don't see a lot of the color, but close up in real life when I was doing this, I noticed that you could see a lot of like the color and the collage all mixed together once these shavings were coming off. So that was really fun to watch. But overall, really happy how this one turned out. So here we are. Mortise is almost done. We're going to size it up, make sure that it's the appropriate size there. Coming back, hitting it again, and bam, now we're ready to go. So now we're going to go ahead and take that faceplate off, using our Ryobi drill. People poo-poo on Ryobi. I love their stuff. I think it works really well. I also have DeWalt stuff, by the way. So there it is. You can see the kind of color coming out of it. Already looks amazing. So now we're just going to get that piece of pine board off, coming back, hitting it with a large bowl gouge like we usually will do, and just getting through that piece of pine real nice and easy. So you guys are probably watching this in October-ish. We got some pretty cool projects coming up. Everything that you guys are going to watch until the end of the year is actually all marathon related. There's like a handful of stuff. Did that thing just fall off on me? Oh my god. I don't even remember that happening, but it did. Make sure to tighten stuff, by the way, because stuff flies off the lathe all of the time. I was looking down when I saw that. I was like, oh my god. So made it work anyway. So got it back on the lathe, obviously, and now we're just going to have to come back and take our time a little bit better with the square carbide tool. Now we're just going to eat away at that piece of pine board that gave me some issues. Like I said, when I'm editing these videos, when I do the commentary, I do a one and done. Like, this isn't $1 million production we got over here, so this is one and done. I see it as you guys see it. There I am tightening up the jaws to the chuck to make sure nothing flies off again. But hey, sometimes things fly off the lathe. I think that was that's going to happen. If you guys stick around and watch the Christmas project later on in the year, things are going to fly off the lathe. But sometimes that just happens, and I'm notorious for things flying off the lathe. Go back and watch some of my older videos. I had stuff fly off the lathe all of the time. So make sure that everything is nice and tight and adheres to your chuck jaws before you get too aggressive, but stuff happens. So here we are, gouging everything out. You can see we're getting really good material off. All the wood shavings are coming off real nice and neat. Really love the angle on this one. When you see shavings like that coming off when you're doing gouging with epoxy, you know everything's set up right. So wasn't too concerned once that first initial gouge went through. You could really tell that everything was nice and built up the way it needed to be. So really happy with that. Now we're just taking the round carbide tool, going to come in, start working some of the edge work, and you can start to see the color pop on this one. Really nice overall aesthetic of how this bowl is going to turn out a little bit later. So took the gloves off, getting a nice feel for what the depth is, and then you saw a little bit of chip out there on the side, so we're just cleaning that up, getting everything nice and even there so we don't have that chip out on the final product. And then we're just taking the smaller round carbide head and just working the walls, make everything just nice and even. Small shallow strokes. You can see that scuff mark there. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I stopped the lathe, but that's from where it popped off. And sanding will take care of that for the most part. Actually, I guess from what I can remember, I was like, no, sanding's not going to take that down. This is super dangerous what I'm doing here. Not dangerous in the sense that it'll kill you, but sometimes if the walls are too thin and you go back and, you know, rub the tool up against or do wood turning on the edges there, it'll break. But there's the wood shavings. This is a little bit earlier in the wood turning marathon. There's this small little pile, but you can already see the colors on there even before we start the actual sanding process. It looks really, really good. But you know, the garage is obviously messy. Usually I like to clean up before I start my sanding, but time was of the essence, and we just didn't have time to go ahead and do a thorough cleaning with all of the projects that we were trying to get done in 2.5 weeks. So that's why you see the big pile there. So anyway, getting everything sanded, going from 320, 340 to 1500, and then working through all the grits, and then micro mesh wet sanding. And look how cool that looks. Absolutely love how this color pops. Really, really cool looking color here. And then once you put the wood wax on there, it's really going to shine, really going to pop. It looks absolutely stunning. And you can see the ink in there. It looks like just ink drops. I don't know what I'm going to call this one. I might call this the ink drop bowl or something like that. Makes no sense. Yes, I know. But once you get everything polished up, then we're going to go ahead and stop the lathe, and you guys are going to be able to see just how cool this looks. But overall, really happy with this. Like I said, I did this back in March in 2.5 weeks, multiple projects at the same time. But you guys are probably watching this in October. Hope everybody's staying warm out there. It's probably still warm in the state of Texas, but Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody likes these projects. Marathon was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but we're getting it done. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Even if you've been watching me, thanks again for the support. Love you guys supporting the channel, and we'll keep it growing. So hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you guys in the next project. Peace. Alright, so, whoa, camera's all shaky. Project is done. Check this dude out. Look at the colors. Absolutely love this. This looks amazing. So this is 3 different colors of ink dye that we put in epoxy. And man, I thought I was going to have a lot of trouble with the epoxy. I'm sure I went through that in the commentary where I was like, hey, I think I didn't mix it well. Went relatively smooth. Did not have any real issues other than when it flew off the lathe. And I was like, oh shit. But man, look at all those cool colors. Look at that. You get the orange, you get the blue and the green translucent. We are definitely going to do another one of these. Again, it is like March 20 something. You guys are probably watching this way later in 2022. The marathon continues. Man, look how cool that looks. Absolutely stunning. So hope you guys liked it. I love this project. It looks absolutely beautiful. Hope you guys got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe, like it. Marathon continues. We're going to do another one of these. And I'll see you guys in the next project. Peace.